Hi, I'm David Sue from the class of 2022, and I'm happy to be back with my team, Lumilin Therapeutics. We're developing a new treatment for type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is when your body can't produce insulin, and therefore it can't regulate your blood sugar levels. Managing type 1 diabetes is a lifelong, full-time job filled with uncertainty, which is why an individual told us that they wish they could have a doctor with them all the time to help them with this management. We have heard over and over again that managing type 1 diabetes is time-consuming, exhausting, and burdensome for many reasons. In a $28.5 billion market, we have the opportunity to change the lives of millions of Americans, and this increases every year by 64,000 people. Current solutions just don't alleviate the burden of management. They require a lot of external components. They also require expensive artificial insulin. They're also very high maintenance. This is why the industry is demanding innovation in order to improve the quality of life for these individuals. Currently, pump-mediated solutions are a good step in this direction, but they still don't alleviate the burden. This is why the future of diabetes care is cell-based, which is where we come in. We're looking to improve the quality of life for these individuals, which is why we're getting rid of the bulky mechanical components. We're also increasing the amount of time that your blood sugar stays in a healthy range. We're using automated control. We're limiting the amount of time that you have to interact with your device. And finally, and most importantly, our device will not need any external insulin, as it will produce its own.
To improve quality of life for individuals with type 1 diabetes, we at Lumilin Therapeutics, with the full support of our research lab at Tufts University, where this technology emerged from, are developing a solution that is much simpler and easier to interact with in contrast to current alternatives. Our solution consists of 3 key components: a continuous glucose monitor, which many individuals with type 1 diabetes already have, our Lumilin Therapeutics app, and most importantly, our key differentiator is our device. Our device operates entirely independently, mimicking the way your body continuously and automatically stabilizes blood glucose levels, using cells that produce insulin. These cells sit in a gel just under the skin and last in your body for up to 12 months. So when a user would eat a snack or a meal, for example, their blood glucose levels will spike. This data will then be relayed to our device using the Lumilin Therapeutics app, which would indicate the cells to produce an increased amount of insulin, stabilizing blood glucose levels back down again. And this is not just theory. Subcomponents of our system have been validated at our research lab at Tufts University. Our cells have been shown to produce an increased amount of insulin secretion, all while not affecting oxygen demands. And our gel has been optimized to house these cells and shouldn't require any immunosuppressants. But most importantly, this system has shown to stabilize blood glucose levels in mice. So as with any other medical device, our marketing strategy will heavily revolve on early education for doctors as well as for individuals with type 1 diabetes. Hospitals will bill the insurance companies who would want to pay for this device, as we would reduce long-term expenses for the insurance companies. Individuals with type 1 diabetes would walk into their doctor's office and, through a very simple outpatient procedure, walk out with the implant and the Lumilin Therapeutics app installed, very similar to current standards for birth control. And this would be a recurring source of revenue for Lumilin Therapeutics. So the next steps for Lumilin Therapeutics would involve furthering our customer discovery and validation. In this summer, we will apply to the NSF I-Core National Program, as well as winnings from this competition will help us leverage more capital and grant funding to further our full prototype development and to get us into phase 1 of clinical trials starting 2026. We're a large and passionate team here at Lumilin Therapeutics with backgrounds in biomedical engineering, mechanical engineering, and computer engineering. And in conjunction with our business development knowledge and the expertise of our researcher, we're confident of commercializing such a technology. We're currently in the process of putting together our advisory board with experts in industry, clinical affairs, and research. We've heard growing enthusiasm from doctors as well as from individuals with type 1 diabetes about our solution and are excited that this will continue to grow. So please help us achieve a new standard in diabetes care and management. Thank you.
Great pitch. Extremely well done.
Yes.
You clearly have done this before. But really, it was really well done. Who owns the technology business?
The Tufts University Research Lab owns it.
And have you finished the licensing?
We're in the process of doing that right now.
You didn't have a slide about who else is using that particular technology to treat type 1? Who is?
There are other companies out there using cell-based devices. As we mentioned, it is the future of care for type 1 diabetes. And these companies, including Vertex, which is based in Boston, as well as some other smaller startups, I'm standing in front of them, are listed.
Very small.
Very small. The difference between us and them is the approach that we're taking, and we think that this really requires a three-legged stool. We have the software, the hardware, as well as the cells, and all these companies are focusing only on the cells. So we think it needs all.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Again, not a medical professional, but I'm curious if you can talk more about like quality control or risk mitigation, like how, if there's an error in reading, like how quickly through the device and the app does this self-regulate?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question. Thank you. And risk is absolutely something that we're concerned about and looking forward to investigating through our clinical trial practice. So through preclinical trials, we'll be testing risk mitigation as well as safety and efficacy in animal models. And then as that is approved by the FDA through our IND approval, we will move into human clinical trials, and that will be 3 phases of testing safety, efficacy, and risk mitigation for if that device were to fail. So that is at the top of our minds, and we want to improve the quality of life for these individuals with type 1 diabetes. And so in order to do that, we need to provide them a safe device to use.
Yeah, and just to jump on really fast on the response time, because our solution is cell-based and not mechanical, the cells in the body are actually sensing the glucose levels and releasing insulin in response to that. So even if they're not upregulating insulin, they're still like managing the blood glucose levels.
So you mentioned it lasts 12 months. Is it just injected with a regular needle, or so you just go in for a regular shot like a flu shot, or?
Yes, so the best way I'll provide an analogy, David, if you want to pull up the slide. So we mentioned birth control implants, which are very popular. So behind me is a description of a typical birth control outpatient procedure for Nexplanon, where they locally numb the area where the implant is inserted, and it's a quick insertion procedure with a bandage over it, and the individual walks out same day. So we envision this procedure being similar for our device, as it would just be under the skin.
In terms of funding, have you all had any funding?
To date, we have not had any funding. We will be doing the NSF National I-Core program over the summer, and they do provide $50,000 for customer discovery and validation, so we're very excited to continue doing that. Other than that, though, we have not received any funding.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.